Larry Locken with Palladium Express Productions. You're tuned into the Conscious Conversation Show with Carolyn and Larry. And today we're going to be talking about channeling. We're going to be talking about different forms of channeling. What is channeling? Including, whether you're talking to your angels, higher self, spirit guides, ET energies, etc. We're going to kick that around a little bit. So stick around. Carolyn Lanier Roberts from deep in the heart of Texas of San Antonio. How are you today?
I am awesome. I am so grateful we are online. Just
No
kind
shit.
of this energy. It's hard to focus, and it's okay. It's being done, but it delayed us a little bit. But we're here, and we're going to bring through whatever it is that will serve the highest.
Absolutely, absolutely. We were talking about, you and I have actually kicked this around quite a bit in private conversations, the channeling thing, right? And I think you and I are both on the same page as far as this goes, that whether it's Mark Twain writing a novel or whether it's, somebody channeling extraterrestrials or spirit guides or, your higher self, right? It's, you're constantly really channeling, even getting an idea like these. I'm going to go ahead and take it to you, but light codes, everything we're getting is channeling, everything.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think I told you everything right before this broadcast. My guides told me flat out everything that was ever written was or is channeled. All of it, every last bit of it. There's always a constant conversation going on, and it's happening on all levels. And channeling, is the process. And to me, the first step is the download, and then the download comes from the channel. I think I said that right.
You did, and one thing too is, I think that we've gotten to the point in the last couple of decades too, where channeling is just a pure flow to you, like it always was to writers. But you don't necessarily need to get into a trance. Although, and I'll get into that in a little bit about the different collectives I channel. As far as sometimes I do go into a trance, sometimes I don't have to. Sometimes it's dead straight on. But there's different forms. People get it in dreams, right? They get it in a deep trance, or sometimes just a mild trance meditation. It comes in all forms, but it really isn't that imperative if you don't have to get into some kind of a big mantra and do telekinesis for 25 hours to get your mind there. But if you think you need to, that's good for some people, but it's not necessary. Absolutely.
Yeah, something that was clarified within me before this broadcast was to make sure that when we say every single person channels, the way that every single soul receives information from their higher self, from the divine, is very different, and the body reacts to those downloads very differently. If I receive something that resonates with my heart, reason of the heart, it's already within me. I get goosebumps. I get this solidity within my solar plexus because I have very strong claircognizance. And those are the things that happen with my body. There's also, for me, I receive this peace, this grounded peace within myself, which is like this unwavering light is what I'm feeling, like a pillar of light. I've known others that they have other energetic reactions to it. And some people have very, very unique energetic reactions that their body receives. And then when they receive the download, how it's expressed in their body, it's very important for every soul to discern and to see how their body reacts to a download. And those are happening right and left, all over now. It's the divine is very much supporting. I'm almost hearing pushing humanity to connect, to expand, to become more aware of their choices, consciousness. And it's very significant for every soul to learn how they receive channels, how their body reacts to a download. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads to my next question. When you have your guides coming through, are you to a point now where it just happens, or do you feel like a premonition coming on? Do you get a vision first? Or is it just a straight up? If they're coming to you, I know you talk to them a lot, and I've heard you talk to them, and it's a real casual thing. But if they're coming to you first with something, how does that come in?
You know what? Over the years, they come through in different ways. I mean, sometimes I'll get a download, and a lot of people I know have received it this way. You get a loud ringing in your ear, one of your ears. You could be in mid conversation with somebody, and you get a loud ringing in one ear, and it's like undeniable. So much so that you kind of forget what the other person's talking about, because whatever that download is highly significant. Now, what I've learned for this method is usually right after the ringing in the ear, I will I'm hearing what is that? Inventory. I'm hearing inventory within myself. What is the next thought coming up? What is this question? Where am I now focused? What has shifted? Because that download, once you get the information that's given to you, which is the energy that you translate, your body translates, um, it's there. It's immediate, and it's your job, as you choose, to ground that energy, either by writing it, where most people do it. You can sing it, you can dance it. You bring that energy through the body to ground it, because if you don't, that particular piece, that particular download received in that way or any way is gone, because it doesn't exist in the physical until you bring it through your body and it's grounded. Um, Now, another way I receive them like I'll be hearing, and that's the fallacy, is people think that you hear when you channel. It's just as you're going to say probably in a minute. It's not really hearing. It's the interpretation of the energy through the pineal, but you can hear. I'm going to put that like in quotation marks, I guess. You can hear like direct phrasing, direct information, and that's very individual per person. And then I'm getting within me that other people channel in other ways. Like I'm seeing something like a candle, and they're looking at the way the candle flickers, and they are receiving information from the candle. I mean, it's so different between every soul, and that's why the exploration and the questioning is so significant. Yeah, the only other thing I'm going to say is that I receive channelings in many ways. Those are only one of two. I mean, you're looking at a blessing pick right in front of you. One of these I channeled, well, you can see that 2021. It's just a doodle. This is a doodle, and it came through me. And these were images in my subconscious that were just kind of there. And I just decided to kind of just start putting pen to paper or pen to easel and just kind of start drawing. And over the years, I've learned that for me, these images are very significant. And for what my mission is as a reawakener of the conversation of the heart, there is significance of these images, of these symbols for others as well, as they resonate with myself and my mission. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it always does when you talk. Hey, listen, so yeah, I agree with you. There's so many different ways to do it. The candle, like Elton John, the candle in the wind, right now. But dreaming, you get them in dreams. I've only had one myself ever in a dream, and it was 8 months ago. But mine are usually just straight up coming into me. But sometimes I'll hear that soft. I'll get a soft ringtone, because the Pleiadians, the way they send one, and other people have said too, it's a real soft pulse tone, real faint, but it's distinct, but it's faint. So, but usually when they do that, Carolyn, when they do that, what you're getting is a download from them. You're not getting necessarily the information right then and there. It'll come to you within, I don't know, a day, a couple days.
Yeah.
There's really no time limit, but soon, not 20 years from now. Well, maybe, but really, it's a thought that comes through. I can just say this to how I know that like a new collective is coming through. This is how I know a new collective is coming to me, like the 30 I channeled before. I'll get a thought, and then I'll see a picture, and then somebody will mention something, and it's not necessarily in that order, but it'll be those three things. I'll have a thought out of nowhere. I'll have this I'll see a picture of them somehow somewhere by a fluke, and somebody will mention something that pertains to whatever that is. And so that's how I know a new collective is coming in. As far as these ones go, right now, most of them, it's just a thought that comes to me. And then if I try to ignore it, it keeps nagging at me. And then once I open to receiving it, or, I let them know that I'm okay with it, it just comes through. But it's definitely it's not voices in your head. They don't do it that way. I got to tell a story. I have had it happen one time ever. Now listen, this is kind of the exception that proves the rule. The first guys I ever had contact with, and it was only 6 months. It was a ship. I never saw the inhabitants, but it was in 2011, and I had my headset on, but I didn't have it plugged into anything. I was getting ready to go to bed and put something in my ear. Well, it wasn't plugged into anything, and I hear this voice like a buddy of mine saying, he said, "Hey." And I threw my headset off and I said, "What the hell was that?" I said, "Hey." And I said, and I put it back on. And then I heard again, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I threw that thing across the room. And I went and picked it back up. I went and picked it back up again. And then he came to me telepathically. He said, "Sorry, we're just trying that." I said, "No, it's okay." And that they wouldn't come back to me that way again, the voice. But it did happen twice where they broke character and did it. But that's the only time. Other than that, they're not supposed to do it that way. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. I mean,
It's telepathic, right? It's a thought placement.
yes, it is, and it's like I mean, I hear it, but I know that it's not hearing. It's energy that's being transmitted to me, and my pineal is interpreting it, and my
Mhm.
mind, and where I am at the level of consciousness I'm interpreting those codes, just like we spoke about last week. Those codes, and yeah, just like you're saying, that download, and then it's a message, or it's information that begins to inform my experience, is what I'm hearing verbatim right now. And the other thing I was going to say, and I'm like debating on bringing this up now or not. Malcolm, do you want me to bring up Malcolm? Remember
Yeah,
Malcolm I told you about?
go ahead and bring up Mr. X. No, I know you're talking about. Go ahead and bring him up. Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, so when you are receiving these downloads and these channelings, you can discern, and you need to, the source of where they're coming from, and you may not receive the direct name of the source, but you can feel the energy around it. If the information you're being given is expansive, loving, neutral, supportive, there are no sides to the information, it's just a general overall soft, like he was saying, soft energy, well, then you can know it's of the light, because there's no ulterior motive, is what I'm hearing within me. So years ago, I was my crown was open. I was receiving stuff, but I hadn't honed my discernment as much as it is now, and my discernment now is very sharp. And at that time, though, I was getting inner directives from a voice that I thought was benevolent. That was my assumption because of where I ground. And so I was allowing this voice to direct my experience, because I made the assumption that it was benevolent. But the way it would direct me would be like, it would push me to the edge of an experience, and it would push me in a way that was like an extension of my ego. Why don't you do this? Why don't you try this? It was a very selfish focus, very selfish, very, very selfish as I think about it. Totally putting myself in the middle, wasn't thinking of others. Because of the way I'm wired, I was aware of others, but there's also a rebel part of me that this energy connected with, about pushing boundaries, and it kind of it deluded me for about 6 months, and I didn't realize it, although I felt the energy. It was mischievous energy, and I began to kind of like, this is interesting. It's mischievous, but I wasn't aware at the time. And I went to a friend of mine, a spiritual leader, who had a spiritual gathering at his house. We were all doing stuff, and then halfway through the day, at lunch, a powerful medium that he was friends with that was there to teach us, came by me, and she's like, oh, you have a fuzzball around you. You have a fuzzball. I'm like, I have a fuzzball. She's like, yeah, you want me to get rid of that fuzzball? And I was like, well, okay. And so she basically removed him from my field, Malcolm from my field, and she told me he was an entity. And when she said it, like, one, there was more clarity in my thoughts. That's one thing I'm getting very strongly. And I didn't have this voice directing me to these actions that were completely based on expressions of my ego and like bolstering myself. And they were pretty much, it was like a conversation that was the exclusion of others. And the truth is, when you're channeling, when you're receiving those downloads, when you're receiving that energy doesn't exclude. Its intent is to include everybody and to educate others as they choose, as they resonate with the information, to bring them into their own individual empowerment. And this energy had no concern over that. It was all about pushing me forward, supporting me, and basically totally honing in on my ego. And I'm telling this, and I'm sharing this because I know there are souls out there that will resonate with this. And I'm just telling you that you can discern. And again, discernment is your own inner work. But once you're at that place where you have that clear conversation within yourself, whether those energies you're receiving are benevolent or malevolent, is what are they directing you towards? Is the intent to educate you, to support you, but the final intent of that is that you share that with others. You share that with others to empower others because it's an expression of love. Or is the final intent to support you, to lift you up at the exclusion of others, seeing others almost as obstacles in your experience, which was the energy that I felt then and I'm receiving now from my guides, that was the state. It's very significant to know that. And truly the gift in that experience, as each experience is a gift, is that I clearly know the contrast now. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, exactly. So you think that it was a lesson learner for you to learn how to
Yes,
discern, right? Okay,
very
to
much.
go through that, right, and so some of those entities have like their own kind of. It's not that they're evil; they just have their own agenda, and it may not
Yes,
be right for you. But I want people to understand though too. You have the power. You can tell them to go take a seat, sunshine. You,
for
you know
sure.
you can get rid of them. I would never act on anything all I do is take in what they say and put it out there. And as long as it's not really if it was something that I wouldn't put out there, I would just not talk to that entity. Okay, they're not
Mhm.
any better than you or I. They're just another soul, and I get in arguments with mine. In fact, I told one of them to fuck off yesterday, and joking lovingly, because you know what? They're not any more powerful than you. Don't give your power
No.
away and put somebody on a pet. I don't care who it is, Christ, Buddha. Their teachings are wonderful, but don't put the individual on a goddamn pedestal, man. I mean, they're nothing like you are, but they're everything like you are too.
Yes, and the other thing about that is that you are embodied, you are walking on this earth, and so you are. Honestly, what I'm hearing within me is you are the master. You are the one that is making the physical changes on this earth, and this is like 0 point D-Day. I mean, we're here, and you physically walking on this earth, walking in your truth as much as you can. Um, that is profound, and you are a door to those others, um, depending on their intent, and you are definitely the keeper of that doorway, whether you choose to hold it open for those of other intent, or you choose to keep it open for those of like loving intent, pure intent, whatever you want to say. And it's you're right, Larry, very significant that every single soul knows they are the authority, not the one coming through. Even the benevolent channels, you can decide to receive that channel or not. I mean, certainly if it's a benevolent
God,
channel, it's intended to support you.
I'm here.
But
Oh God, Mercury retrograde. I got thrown off. I'm back.
you're good. You were gone for like a second, really a second. So I mean, yeah, and that's very significant for every soul to know that they are sovereign. They truly are. Yes.
Yeah, they truly are, and it irritates me when people want to keep. It's one thing to put your channeling out there, and it's another thing to just continue to continuously like I can hear it in people's voices that they're putting this entity up on a pedestal, and I don't like calling them entities because
Yeah.
they're beings, they're other souls. Entities to me, entities sound more like a Malcolm, like you were
Yes.
talking about.
True.
Right. So you're a sovereign being. You have the power to say no. You have the power to say no. I would prefer not to go there with you. But a lot of people are where you were at, and I'm proud that you could see through that. And somebody, you listened to somebody who had to say something else. I wish that about 250 people would have listened to me that don't about that, because I've had to talk to people like that, and they just continue to channel that person and bitch about it and ask if you don't keep asking the questions if that's right or that's wrong. I mean, at some point you got to figure it out on your own. You know what I
True.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
You do. It's that's the whole point to me. All that we're getting the downloads and we receive the channelings is it's all about connecting deeper and deeper within ourselves and seeing what we really are. Where are we in that information that's being downloaded? I mean, it's coming from this source of, and I'm speaking of benevolent channelings, benevolent downloads. You're receiving that and you are sovereign. So you can take that whole channel and swallow it whole, or you can discern it for yourself. And discernment, as I've said, I think in the first broadcast, discernment basically is the filtering of the heart. And it comes when you have walked through an experience, most likely unwillingly, that has kind of pierced your heart, honestly, and
Mm-hmm.
has forced you to look at your life differently, and frankly to look at yourself differently, and to rethink everything and review it to see, is this right for me? Do I really resonate with this? What matters to me? Where do I stand in this space? Where do I stand with this argument? And um, it's vital, and it's one of those conversations that you have when you're channeling and you're receiving downloads. How do I feel about this energy? How does this make me feel? Does this connect? Do I connect with this? Does this matter to me? It's
Mm-hmm.
there's so much out there, and you can connect with so many different channels and downloads, and it's I'm hearing buyer beware right now. That's so funny. I'm laughing.
Yeah,
um
go. Yeah.
it's it can become overwhelming, but the center of all of it is you learning about you, and then it spreads out from there. um Larry, hold on a second. I'm going to mute my microphone. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for listening. That's Carolyn&Larry Roberts. You can find her at Allowing the Light. That's her Facebook page. That's also her Instagram channel is Allowing the Light. Okay, you can also find her at Carolyn&Larry Roberts on YouTube, Carolyn&Larry Roberts at Allowing the Light. You can find me, of course, on Facebook. My main page, well, not my main page, but the page that tells all the social media platforms I'm on, and as well as YouTube
I'm back.
channels. Oh, go ahead, and Carolyn is back.
No,
So yeah,
yeah. So, I mean, at this point, my thoughts are, well, let's see. Every soul is receiving downloads. Are they listening to them? Well, they may be, and they might not be. But this is the time where those will not stop. That voice, though, that direction, those suggestions, and I'm always, for myself, I'm always speaking of benevolent ones, but again, there is discernment is always required. um, those are all intended to expand your experience, and especially expand your experience of you and how you receive your world and how you walk through it, and how it affects you, because the more that you know yourself, the more that you expand your own experience, and you bring yourself into grounding and to joy, is what I'm hearing within me, Larry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The channeling, like you sometimes you get that we get that gut intuition that something's wrong, or and we all humans always have, but we don't really listen to it, or we kind of put it to the side. We've been getting channelings like that since humanity has been around. But it's like you said,
Yeah.
it's starting to come through so strong, the energy now, right? Because of the
Yeah.
planet shifting, that it's just flooding in that kind of an energy from all kinds of sources, different star systems, different realms. Um, everywhere. So it's really hard to ignore. It's not like some thing anymore. It's becoming more and more intense. And I think a lot of people are having that happen and that aren't awakened yet, or so to speak. And they don't realize, they're wondering what in the hell's going on all of a sudden. But you're always being channeled through a higher self. You're always surrounded by God. You're never really alone, and you know it. If you just you know this innately, ladies and gentlemen. You're never alone. Okay, really, you got more people. You got a bigger audience than you might even think, probably.
And then I was just guided. The reason why the image you have is one of my blessing picks. That is receive. And the reason why I offered that one to you is because, to me, it shows the energy that's around. It's around us. This is a tree, but it's around us like all the time. We only see a percentage of the spectrum, of energetic spectrum, that actually exists. And just like you're saying, it's around us all the time. It's around us all the time, and it's a matter of opening some more. Oops. Isn't that funny? The picture just dropped
I
off.
know it's Mercury retrograde, right? It's about opening up to that It's opening up to that frequency. We again last week we talked about with the light codes. I mentioned that being able to tune into that frequency to hear the sound of colors, right? It's about tuning into a frequency and being open to that frequency. And now it's becoming, because of the planet shifting, these things are going to be coming to you whether you like it or not. So you should learn how to discern them. And if you don't like what you're hearing, hey, if you like part of it, fine. The guy may say, hey, he believes in free health care for all, but then he might tell you to jump off a bridge. I mean, you're not going to do both, are you? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, take what resonates with you, but if you don't like it, you don't like it. Don't just sit there and go, oh, I got to listen because this is my, this is good for me. So even though I don't like it, I got to do, no, fuck all that nonsense. No. Really, if you don't like any, if you feel like telling them to take a hike, tell them to take a hike.
Tell him to take a hike.
Don't give your power over. Don't give your power over to a leader, a politician, a pastor, any guy, even a spiritual guide or a guru. For me personally, if I was wealthy, I'd have a personal guru, but he wouldn't be somebody that I would, whatever, just for advice is what I'd have him around for, and so, and kind of a confidant and shit like that. But it wouldn't be, if I was already thinking something, he ain't gonna change my mind. And I'm open to it if he's got some good reasoning and this makes sense, and I wasn't thinking this, of course I will. But it isn't gonna change my mind because he said it. It's what resonates. It's a frequency vibration you pick up within you from these energies, and it's whatever resonates with you. Now, that's not also to say, though, that's not to say that you just feel like being irresponsible and doing something just for the hell of it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you know inside what's right and what's wrong, and you know what you're going to do, and don't judge yourself, and just, but at the same time, be aware.
Yes. And it's I was given something a minute ago about when you're drawn to something different, you might want to consider that was probably a download that you received that you had just finished processing, and you're being pulled to this different energy. Like, I'm seeing somebody trying a different page on Instagram that they would always skip before, and they're actually letting themselves read it or listen to it or feel it, because they have this new energy, this shift within themselves, which was from a download, that
Brilliant.
they are allowing in this new information, is what I'm hearing. And that applies to what you just said. It's like, where a soul might blindly just watch the news, network news, and they've done it for, every day of their life for the last, 30 years or whatever, or 50 years, and one day they decide, they're like, wow, what else could I be doing than watching this? What else could I be doing? Wow, I have this thought. Maybe I'll walk outside. Maybe I will, I have the pens, I have that ink, I have the paints in my office, and I've always thought about playing with that. I think I want to do that. Wow, that sounds really fun. Yes, I think I want to do that instead. And it's like this new information begins to slowly, I'm hearing creep in, but I don't know if I like that word, but it slowly begins to seep in your experience of, wow, I think I'd like to try that. Wow, I've never done that. And you begin to slowly, um, honestly, the path is you open your heart. And as you open more and more, obviously with discernment, you expand more, you try different things. And these are from downloads. And these are, because you're trusting that information. But again, as we said in the beginning, you discern what you receive, and you always do that. But over time, as you begin to receive the same energy, maybe the word is energy, you begin to kind of trust that source, because you know that feel. I can't really explain that any differently, Larry.
No, it's
And
perfect. It's perfect.
and you kind of like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. And the more that you do it, the more that it becomes a flow. It becomes a flow, because you're trusting this energy, but you're also allowing yourself to trust that. So the energy comes to you, and you are trusting yourself, that you are doing all of your due diligence to know that this is benevolent energy, and the energy is received by you, and you are opening to it. So it's like this two-way conversation. The way I always see it within myself is that we receive this information, and your job is trust, and God's job is faith, or it goes between two. You trust you, and you have faith in God. It all, the center is you, and each one comes off of you, coming from different directions. I hope that makes sense,
No,
Larry. And
it does, Carolyn, and it resonates. It's about a resonation, and it is faith, but it isn't about a. It's not about a blind faith. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to trust it. That no,
yeah,
it also resonates with you. You may not see
yes,
physical proof, but it's got to resonate with you
it will. Yes,
totally.
yes, it's, and when something resonates, it's you can be. What am I seeing? I'm seeing somebody sitting on a park bench, honestly, and you're watching children play, and they're smiling and they're laughing, and you're remembering that as being a child, and you're taking in that energy, and you feel this peaceful giddiness within you, and you feel it, and at one level of reality, people would say, well, that's because you're watching children play, and that supports you to feel that way. Yes, it does. But it can also be that you are remembering the energy within you, and how you were feeling in those moments as a child, and you are connecting with that experience. And it's like this, it's this connection that you're receiving, this familiarity, which is the resonation. Just like when you are, all right, I'm getting something about, somebody sends you a video, somebody's download, and they've downloaded this entity, this channeling, and you're listening to it, and it's got one of these flashy headline things of fear or whatever, and you listen to it because you're feeling obligated to listen to it, and whatever, you know you allow yourself to continue listening to it, which is a choice of discernment, but you also are able to pick out elements of truth, of resonation within you from that, because it's a subject that you actually are already interested in. A better example. Okay. Or you're on an Instagram feed, and there's somebody, and you love their energy, and they are maybe they're talking about meditation, and they're walking in the woods, and they have a very peaceful energy, and they're starting to speak of a subject that is very, very significant, worthy is what I'm hearing within me to you. And you allow yourself to surrender and to listen to that, and your whole body feels peace from being in this space and allowing in this energy. And the reason why is because it's an energy that brings you home. It's already within you. It's information that it might be presented slightly differently, but it's like home to you. And this is resonation. And so when you are receiving downloads and they take you home, they make you feel comfortable and safe. When you've done your inner work, or are you in the process of that in discernment, then you can fall into a place of trust that that is for the highest good for you, because you have already, and you are already grounded in trust is what I'm hearing, and walking in your pillar of light is also what I'm hearing. Um, and this is a place that happens, and these steps can happen gradually, but I'm also hearing for some souls they can happen quite rapidly. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
place, it's like a memory, a remembering, and now I'm seeing something like a template. I'm seeing an energetic template, and when you are in resonation with something, it's like you are aligning with that energetic template. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does make sense. It's about the energy flow that you feel like when you just mentioned that sometimes you'll see something once in a while, like on a feed, and it's like, okay, wow, you're drawn to that and you surrender to that, and you're like, wow, this resonates with me. That what that person's saying, I feel like a connection there. Man, those are great. Hey, those are great freeing moments. I'm telling you what, in a sea of getting crap, I'm not gonna say crap, but things from people that with the fear and the hey, listen to this, you got to listen to this, you got to listen to this. I remember you
Yeah,
and I were talking privately yesterday, and you kind of calmed me
yeah,
down because I was like, I get so tired of it. And I said, Carolyn, do you think these people, why are they insulting me by sending me shit they know I probably know? But you reminded me and put me on track by saying, look, because to them, that's where they're at. And they're just excited about it too. And we also talked about the excitement that we feel about something, to think that everybody else should be excited about what we are, right? Or what
yeah,
we're getting, our downloads we're getting. And it was a nice reminder for me, humbly, that that's where they're at in their growth path. It's not that they're trying to fuck with Larry and send him some shit to make him watch it and find out that there's a new world order, a Bilderberg group, or
yeah,
the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the goddamn Warren
yeah,
Commission, the whoever, whatever, all of the hit parade.
for sure, for sure. And it's you can you understand that they are where they are, and you can honestly, clearly see the level of consciousness where somebody is when they share certain things, because over time you can feel their intent. What were they trying to scare me, were they really informed by this? You know, um, and basically the downloads and the channeling to me are like they're cosmic conversations that we receive energetically, because we are energy in these bodies. And as we discern what is right for us, because again, we are sovereign beings, we are ultimately, as I receive, we are masters walking this earth. Now, it doesn't mean that we are not learning and growing. I mean, even somebody that is very much locked into the old system, they are still a master in their own space, because they are truly sovereign. The things that happen in their own space are their own choice of consciousness, or conscious or unconscious choice. One of the things I receive within me in every moment, and I offer this to any, but this is something that is deeply resonant for me, is that the unconditional love we receive from Creator in every single moment is choice. Choice. We do have choice. We have
And
choice to think
yeah,
this way. We have choice to breathe this way. We have choice to focus on this. We have choice to drink this and eat this. And all of that is relevant, because we are the vessel, whether it's the physical vessel or the energetic vessel, that is on this earth, and that is taking those codes and those downloads and those channelings and transcribing them into our reality, and basically transforming it from what we choose for ourselves. Yeah. I hope that makes sense.
it always does coming from you. Hey, listen. Yeah, exactly. It's about the discernment. It's about taking what resonates with you, those codes. And it's just becoming more and more intense. I lost my train of thought of what I was going to say. You have so many great points that I'm going through. Let's see. Yeah, the discernment, and you'll see what is kind of really interesting to see and exciting for me is to see some of these people how they progress, right? They move on to a little bit something more enlightening and not maybe so fearful, right?
Yeah.
They move on to
Yep.
other things. And the other thing I wanted to hit on though about that is these channelings. So many of us sound like we're doing the same channelings. It's people aren't copying each other. What's happening is you're getting the same kind of download from the same kind of
Mhm.
intent, the same kind
Yep.
of frequency. It's just that you're interpreting it through your vessel, right? And through your and at the same time, you may have a different guide than they have, but those guides are getting it from their guides as well. They, everybody's got a teacher and everybody's got a student. We're all each other's both. Okay, so
Yeah.
you may have your own guide, but you're getting a download from them that sounds like somebody's channeling Saint Germain, or somebody's channeling Archangel Michael, or the Pleiades, or whoever that their particular one is, right? Or the Arcturian. You're they're saying the same thing because they're coming from pure source flow.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing I'm getting is like a scientist, and he comes on this, he discovers he makes this new invention, and then he goes to get it patented, and he discovers that it was already invented 10 years ago. What I have always received is when these downloads come, yeah, they aren't just us. It's kind of like it's an energy sent out to the resonating souls, is what I'm hearing, and they're going to interpret it through their own being, through their own experience, this lifetime and others. And then they're going to bring through what matters to them. And the example I was given within me is not in the spiritual arena, although to me everything is, but it, like in the field of science. Somebody comes up with an invention, and they see that somebody has actually already invented it, or somebody comes up with this aspect of tweaking
Mm-hmm.
something that already exists, and then they turn around and they see, wow, it existed several years ago, or now it's like, oh wow, there's this new thing that maybe they're doing to cars, and then the next car company, I can't think of the name, manufacturing company, whatever that word is,
They tweak it and
they
make it better, right?
they tweak it and make it better because that is from a download. Yep.
Absolutely. You when you were talking about, you found it, somebody might find out that their invention was already patented, but yeah, and you touched on the flip side, which is you may invent something and patent something, but then somebody may come up with, you may have given them 8/10 of the puzzle, but then they figured out the other two pieces, and
Yep.
they improved on what you didn't know at first. We all move it forward, and I think because of money and financial things, we get caught in ego. Like, well, hey, that was my invention. They ripped me off on my invention. Well, how about just thinking it like this? They made it better.
Yep.
Okay, because there's probably been some times in your life where you've seen something and you go, well, if they just did this and did that, then that would make it actually almost perfect. It would make that system or that program or gadget, whatever, a little bit better. So we all move it forward. I like to tell really a quick story of that, kind of how this works, and it ties into karma. This is off topic, but
Okay.
it's not really it is on topic. Okay, so when the computer wars were first going on in the late 70s and early 80s in Silicon Valley, you had both, and I don't want, people, I don't need to hear about Bill Gates and Jobs, but this is just a story. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were young competitors against each other. Okay, so Steve Jobs ripped off some kids at Xerox. These kids at Xerox invented Windows, right? For this Windows kind of program. He got buddy with them. He stole their idea and went and patented. But he wanted to make sure that only his computers could only use his software. Bill Gates and Paul Allen were like, hey man, Paul Allen's like, fuck that. Let's just invent software for computers, but we'll design a program like his, but we'll tweak it and make it better, which is what they did. And that kind of ties into karma too, because Jobs was pissed, but Jobs ripped off those kids at Xerox, and I hope they ended up getting paid. But that's on a side note. But Bill Gates, he made it better and made it to where the software could be used on any kind of a computer versus being greedy like Jobs was.
Yeah.
And that's just but that's kind of a story where he made it a little bit better. And sometimes karma, you may have gotten some of that idea that you got from other people you weren't willing to give credit for, but you went ahead and patented it anyway and took full credit. And somebody may, but it doesn't matter whether your intention was or not. Somebody's come along, and if they have a better solution for a couple facets of your invention. Why not, hey, give them all the credit in the world. I understand there's a financial thing and I understand all that, but see, that's what it's tied to mainly is ego and greed is what's
Yeah,
the problem.
yeah. My guides kind of reminded me of something they told me years ago. Um, I'm just gonna say it flat out because they told me this, and yeah. So okay, what they said, there's no competition in the higher realms. So as you are aligning with your heart, with your dream, with what lights you up, what you want to be doing for the rest of your life, what you feel will serve humanity, whatever that is, which is something that brings you joy, because those are actually the same. And as you do that, you will see that there is no competition in that field, in that
Mhm.
focus, because that supports all, and
It's
it's
for the
not.
greater good. That's for the
Yeah, it's
greater
for
good.
the
For the
greater
greater
good, and
good.
there is no competition. There isn't. Now in the other reality, whatever you want to say, yeah, yeah, because that's fostered, and people like that. Some people like that. That's fine, but the truth is, the real competition is you with you, and that is a profound competition, honestly.
Boy, it is, and that's the main thing. Competition breeds division. To be honest with you, competition brings division.
Yeah.
In the higher realms, it's all about the greater good. They don't play a competitive sports with each
Nope.
other,
They don't.
and they do for fun. You may play a game. They play games with each other for fun, right? Like that, some kind of a whatever board game, whatever they do. But it's not they're happy for each other for doing good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not like they're pissed off because they lost or they're not really trying to win or the fun of it. But the fun of it is this: it's fun when you win, but when you lose, if you're stuck in that mindset, it's not. And if you're a
Yeah.
sports fan in that
It's the
illusion still, you're not going to win all the time, and
yeah.
you're going to lose more than you're going to win. Okay, you're going to
Yeah.
lose sometime, and that's just you're going to lose in the end. All right, that's how it goes. So, but if you know that and accept that, it's one thing and it's fine. But competition does breed division just inherently, and they don't mess around. Carolyn is right; they don't fuck around with that in the higher realms at all.
No,
It's
they
all about
don't.
the greater good.
And when I say the competition, it's you with you. You can take that energy that was you against others and do it you with you, not against you, but it's like you pulling yourself and driving yourself forward in a balanced state. But it's you, that you're the one running the engine and you're the one driving it forward. And so it's like you discipline yourself lovingly, kindly, but you move you forward. And that is reality of creation in the higher realms. That is the closest that they will come to competition, that is with self, because you aren't just you. You represent your ancestors, all of the non-physicals that are in cheerleading on the side is what I see. So it's like, yeah, and it's a very significant shift.
What you touched on there too is your guides that are around you, your ancestors, all that, right? People, I think this point never gets touched on much. They're rooting for you. They admire you. They admire you for being you and for what you're doing. It's not like they think, oh, this poor, we're going to pat him on the head. We're just going to teach him a little. We got to teach him a few things. And, oh, they may lovingly, jokingly be like that, but they're not. They are rooting for you. They love you. They don't
Yeah.
come from a place of competition. They don't come from a
No.
place of, well, this guy's not as good as me because he has this and I have this over him, but I know I'm not as good as my guys because they have this, right? But
Yeah.
that's still a competition within yourself, right? You're trying to work on yourself as far as being, your confidence level. You're competing with yourself when you have that kind of mentality. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So I just got something. So the way, there are many levels to how I have reached this place on my path, which is just, the next level, basically. But what I'm getting within me is that it started with downloads, and it's kind of like my guides are like, how far back do you want to go? And what I'm thinking is just to go to the blessing picks, like the one that you have, Larry, receive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when I took those pictures and when I tweaked them, some of them are tweaked, some of them aren't, but they're being that they are shifted that way because I am receiving information and sometimes images within me of, this is what we're trying to convey. This is what, and sometimes I'll see in my third eye, oh, okay, this is the image they want. And that's another download is the third eye, because the chakras are all places of receiving at different expressions of energy is what I'm hearing. And it's like, receive the one you've got. That's a download. This is a download. The image that I have, the doodle, the joy doodle. And they can be other expressions. I could put a page up here of words that I have written, and they don't even have to seem woo woo. They could just be very matter of fact. Those are still downloads. That's still a channel. It's a channel from you, because you are, I don't know if I could say that. I'm just going to say I heard embodiment of your higher self. Here, you may not be fully the full expression, but you are most definitely an aspect of that expression as you do your inner work, and you connect more and more with what you are, and you release more and more of what you aren't.
You're a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
People. You are beautiful. You are you are an expression, a manifestation of the divine. You are a beautiful person. You are. Some of the issues you may think you have competing with yourself is because you're down in a lower realm. You're in a body that requires a lot of maintenance, a vehicle, so to speak, and I know that can get depressing and medical issues and stuff like that. But you are an expression of the divine, and there are plenty of ways. Carolyn's drawings, right there, ladies and gentlemen. People express that kind of thing through music, through light language, through codes, and it's really all the same thing. It's a channel coming through you.
Yes.
It's a pure source, consciousness source flow of all that is that goes.
Yes. And then the more that consciousness rises, as there's this division happening, then there is going to be a heavier expression and a lighter expression. And as the lighter expression comes through, it's going to be more pure downloads, more untainted information. I don't really like that, but I'm hearing that. It's because the soul that's receiving it is in more of a pure flow, and that flow will only intensify as they continue to walk in their truth. And those downloads, honestly, however they're expressed, they're, just like you talk about sound. Yes, it's definitely sound. For me, and there's others that will resonate with this, but I have discovered that when I hear the female voice, a beautiful female voice singing, maybe with music mixed in the background, but she's singing, and she doesn't need to be singing. She can even be toning. She can even be bringing through channel as well. But she is authentic in her heart, and I feel that deeply within my body, and it really begins to shift me. And the voice, the human voice, is a profound conveyor of channelings and what they offer, because the state of the heart of the person sharing that is clearly conveyed in that voice. It's a form of healing when you're listening to music. Do I choose to say all music? I guess
Well,
that
it depends
depends
on
on the
what music
person.
you like. It depends on what music you like, right? And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yes, exactly. And what my guides are telling me right now is that, okay, you mentioned that about the voice, right? Our way of communicating on Earth with our voice, the human voice, is so unique, ladies and gentlemen. It's so unique and so beautiful, and it can be expressed in very, very unique ways, because it's not unique to us because we're here. But I mean, in other realms, they really love our voice. They really love the way we love their vibration and their, tones and pulses. They love the way it's something exciting to them as well. But yeah, I just had to get that in.
Nah, that's all good. I mean, well, because what I was getting was sound, some music that points you to higher expressions, and then frequencies that point you to lower expressions. And so that's a place of discernment and honestly, for the soul to research for themselves how their body, which is their energetic field, reacts to those tones. And when you're in those spaces where you're finding the frequency that is supporting you the highest in that moment, the solfeggio frequencies, 528, 432, what am I hearing? There's 417,
Mm-hmm.
6, 636, 6 something another. These basically put you in an energetic state to receive, to be open, to, yeah, the phrase is be open to receive and to open to more of what you are, because you are bypassing the mind and you are immersing in that frequency, which brings your body into the harmony that it is desiring. And that changes every day, especially with these energies. But I highly recommend going to YouTube or Spotify or one of those platforms, and listening to, you can do atmospheric, but sometimes atmospheric gets very cerebral. Um, I prefer to focus on the frequencies, and then the composition of the music. It depends on the individual composer and what resonates with you, but those can take you into that space of receiving and opening, basically, to downloads. Although you truly don't have to do that. You could go outside, listen to a squirrel talk to you, and that could be a download. Or I was listening to a person that you and I listened to, that I
You want to
turned
give
you
him a
on.
plug? Do you have a problem with giving him a plug? I don't mind giving him a
I can
plug.
plug him.
You
Okay.
go ahead.
Paul White, Gold Eagle, Crime Disclosure, awesome broadcast. I call it a cosmic newsletter. He's on YouTube, and I didn't tell him when I did his comment, but there was a download that I received as I was listening to his broadcast. It was interesting because I can do that now. I can listen to his broadcast and write this download at the same time, and it was the energy that he was conveying in that broadcast, as he does those broadcasts, and it opened up my channel significantly, and it was really cool. And I didn't
You
I
know,
didn't think that was
wow.
possible, but
Wow, but
yeah,
it does that to me too. I'm just getting excited because it does that to me too. It's like, remember last night I was talking to you and going, Carolyn, man, I hear things on there and I swear I've channeled that before. Am I going crazy? And it's a download I'll get that'll motivate me. But then sometimes I have said some of it before, but it goes back to getting the same download sometimes at the same time. But man, he is the ultimate newscast in a great world. He's the guy you want to tune into. I mean, because and his voice is so unique and so cool, and I just
yeah,
lovingly, imitation is the most sincere
I'm
form of
I'm
flattery. And he
I'm
appreciated me
hearing.
telling him that. I'm like, the sea star of the divine
Well,
starlight. He's
I'm
great.
I'm I'm gonna say, okay. So within me, he's being called Walter Cronkite for like the spiritual age or something. That's what I'm hearing within me.
I
But
told him that.
um, he may not. I mean, he resonates with me because I know the soul, and he's very loving intent, and I've been listening to him. I got, my God, 7 8 years now. My fiance can't listen to him because he's more focused auditorily, and his voice doesn't do enough
Mhm.
fluctuation for him, but he
Right.
takes in the information, you know.
Exactly.
I I'm unaffected by that. To
Me
me,
too,
his stuff is
me too. But I could see that with his
amazing.
voice. If you're stuck in that auditory mode, though, with Paul, you're either going to totally resonate with how he's talking, or it will. I
Yeah.
could see where Eric's coming from on that.
Yeah,
But I'm on your side with you, lockstep. Where I like it. It resonates with me. Plus, I'm
yeah.
about the information. If he tomorrow started sounding like gravel, I'd still listen to the guy. Okay.
Maybe one day he'll hear this and he'll hear. But actually, I'll probably put it on his next broadcast. I'll be like, my guides called you this. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's an awesome broadcast. I highly recommend it. It's yeah, my guides call it a cosmic newsletter every day. Um, so yeah, it's you can get downloads. Um, and receive the channelings from those downloads in pretty much any space. You could be watching, frankly, I'm getting a violent movie, and maybe you'll get a download. That depends on if you can separate your energy from what you're watching. You can get a download from, you taking a bath. That's where a lot of people get it. You take a bath, you're in this quiet space, and all of a sudden you're really hearing what's within you. And as your mind gets quiet, you begin to really hear and like surrender to what's already been within you. Maybe it's something that you, this energy, but you didn't know what it was. This unrest within you is what I'm hearing. And you finally get quiet and you discover it's not your brain. It's something. You immediately begin to receive this new information, and maybe you start to ponder it, in the bath. The channelings. And the thing to understand is yeah, I mean, I'm being put back to the thing that I said at the beginning of the broadcast. Everything that was ever written was and is channeled, and everything that was ever created. And so I'm like looking around at my office, and I'm being, yes, that was channeled. Yes, that was channeled. Yes, that was channeled. Yeah, the backpack, that was channeled. This basket, which is channeled, this binder clip, somebody channeled that invention. My coffee cup, somebody, long time ago channeled that thing, the charging thing for the cell phone, that was channeled. Everything was channeled. The Bible, that was channeled. Which is probably gonna but yeah, I mean, it's, and the birds, like when I was saying the last broadcast, those are expressions of the mother. That's unconditional love. That's all channel. They're always speaking, all of it, all of that. Frankly, you could even have a roach that's coming towards you, and his motion could bring you into a channel. It's the truth.
No,
Um,
it's very true. Yeah.
it's very true, because all of it connects to a pure source. It is a pure source. Um, you know, and water is a very powerful, is it conduit for receiving.
Yep.
Um, Whether you're drinking water, you're floating in the water, you could be looking at water. And then, Emoto, that was that experiment. What are we talking about? 90s? Was that 90s?
Yeah.
Dr. Emoto, when he programmed the water, and that was what country was that? Was that China? God, I can't remember. These are
Was it? I
details.
thought. Where was he out of? Shit. I can. Yeah, I can't. That I
Korea,
can't remember.
something like that.
Might have been South Korea. Maybe it wasn't North
Yeah.
Korea.
Okay.
I'll tell you that.
So anybody that's tweaked by this, unless you've already researched this, but he programmed water, and he would have it. What did you have? A listen to music or something? Oh no, he'd speak to it. He'd have people, the water. He'd have them speak to it, and he would have talk to the water in this way over here, like yelling at it and da 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 da. And this one over here, he would speak kind things to it and soft things to it, and you could see the water crystals under the microscope, and that it changed the structure of the water by the energy that was sent to it, which was the emotions and the intent, frankly. And water is unconditional love, and so it's a profound conduit for channeling, because like you can program it. You drink your water, and you can program what you want to put in there. And do you want to be happy and energetic and feel good that day, and or float in the water. But all of those help you receive the downloads that you're going to receive that day. Or yes, better, I'm getting within me. You can't plan it.
Well,
Those are
speaking
fun
of
things.
plants, yeah, plant it right. Plant. It works on plants too. I knew a
Yeah,
gardener who would talk and
it
tell his plants
does.
how beautiful they were and how gorgeous they were, and boy, they're getting so big, and he's so happy but proud of them, and he loves them so much. And I'm kind of feeling now that that's kind of what our guides are doing with us in a way.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You're right. Oh, that's sneaky. Yes, you're right. And what I just got to when you talked about plants was, and I'm sitting here trying to think, how is it going to relate? But somehow it'll relate. Is when they put the electrodes on the plants, and you can hear the plants, you can hear them singing, right? Have you heard about that? You know about that one?
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. Yes. Just recently.
It's amazing. I mean, like the picture that I sent you, the blessing pick receive. I mean, that's kind of like that. It's the singing, it's the plant singing, the weed singing, the trees singing. Those are all singing. That's that other level of energy that's around us that we can't see, which is also the same as the downloads. You can't see it. You can definitely feel it. And I will reiterate, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, that it is very significant for you to do research on yourself and to figure out how your beautiful particular body vehicle receives downloads. How does it react to them? How does it react to receiving truth is what I'm hearing within me. Because truth is an energy that brings you into complete alignment, brings you into peace. It's unquestioning. It's a place where your mind isn't spinning. It's a place where you kind of feel you can rest. You don't have to keep holding up the world. Um, Unlike when you hear like the energy of a lie or deceit, that one starts you spinning, starts your thoughts spinning. You feel ungrounded. You feel slightly dizzy. Um, and it's
Yeah,
because it doesn't have a solid grounding. And that relates to downloads because you can tell, you know, with the energy of the download, the intent. The other thing I'm being given right now is being around people. You can feel the energy of people and you can get downloads just being around certain people because of their frequency. High frequency people are they're portals. They're portals. And so you might receive something just being around them because of their energy, because of their beautiful loving intent. Or like I was saying
mhm.
before about Paul White Gold Eagle. Um yeah, now I'm hearing and that's why it's important to discern your environment and be very discerning of your choices more and more. Um, and then I'm getting within me. It doesn't mean you can't have fun. It's a place of balance. Um, yes,
It,
yes.
it really is. I wanted to go back to the plants for just a second. Now, I came across an article. It was just last week, and I kind of skimmed over. I didn't want to really put anything out about it because I didn't have any sources for it. It was a blank statement with some plants. But apparently, this guy was trying to claim that these plants talk to each other, and they warn each other about chemicals in the air
I bet.
that are coming. Do they have a way of kind of trying to do their
Yes,
best to combat that? I mean, we sure are doing our best to try to kill them with shit, but you know, they, I mean, really, but we not you and I per se, and people listening, but they have a way of talking to each other and harmonize. They share
yes,
so much of our DNA. They share as much of our DNA as animals do. The differences with plants, though, is they replenish themselves for food and stuff like that. They're not. I'm not going to get into the whole vegetarian thing versus eating meat. I'm a vegetarian, but and I went on that on other shows, but I'm not going to get into a diatribe about that. But
yeah,
these plants are so like us; they're like ascended. Some of the trees are like ascended because the trees are beings themselves. Plus, there are beings in the trees. It's not just that they're trees
for
or
sure.
beings. There's also several collectives that go in these trees. Several.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing I was reminded of when you first started speaking is, you know, like Avatar, the movie Avatar, that was a download. And, you know, that main tree, you know, that's very relevant. And then, I don't know if I want to bring that forward. Then there's other timelines that are not present here, but we've crossed before as a collective in other times, and we've gotten information. We still continue to get information from that. One is biblical times, but the other one I'm being given is also like Camelot. You know, which happened as I understand, but not in this dimension, another dimension, but it was
Mm-hmm.
like this overlap or something. And we continue to get information from that because we were affected by that, because again, everything is energy. And downloads are energy. And guaranteed nowadays, you can probably go online and look at somebody, look at a scientist who's probably got some piece of equipment that is filming a download or is researching a download, guaranteed, you know. And the channelings, again, the thing I'm being reminded of right now is when I first was starting to like read other people's channelings and get turned on by them. I, for a time, thought that that person spoke the God spoken truth. And I began
Mm-hmm.
to realize, and my guides, I think, I don't know if they told me or if this is something that I had to learn myself, but just like we were saying earlier, those people that channel, what they channel is directly related to their level of consciousness. And for my being, that is directly connected to the state of their heart. And so you might have somebody who's channeling an entity, just like we were talking about earlier, and they're speaking things that are so like almost there, completely almost resonant, but not quite. And they're going off into some kind of direction that is just like, wow, do I want to go there? I mean, it could happen, right? I mean, like really,
Mm-hmm.
it could happen.
Oh yeah.
But it starts you like spinning. It starts your mind spinning and your thoughts spinning. That's the place to step back. That
That's
channel, you
yeah.
don't
You don't
have to
want to be her
receive that
frame.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to receive that channel right there. You can step back, recenter within yourself, decide and discern. Do I want to continue to ingest this energy is what I'm getting? And maybe there's information in there that you can take and discern and pick apart for yourself. But if you are not at that place where you have done that inner work, you can still get that information you're seeking from other channels that are more pure, is what I'm hearing within me, and that don't have ulterior motives, is what I'm also hearing within me. That will give you the same information you're seeking, the same direction, but they won't be filling it with fear, and they won't be making your mind and your thoughts spin. In fact, they will bring you forward, they will ground you. You will feel peace. It doesn't mean that you won't be connected and aware of the external events. It means that you won't feel like a victim in your own experience, and that is highly significant.
Well, Carolyn, you're touching on everything that I mean. This is kind of a humbling day for Larry because you're talking about the what I've told people not in quite the way you articulate things, but if you get some good download, but it doesn't quite 100% resonate with you, but most of it does. Don't let your human brain try to figure out that last 10%. It will come to you if it's meant to through
Yeah.
another channel, like Carolyn is saying, or a thought. But it's all channeling. But whether it's another guide that you're talking to, or whether collective, or whether it just comes to you through source flow, that it'll come to you. But don't try to. And I tell people that don't try to think because this rhymes with that or this correlates with that you can figure out that other percentage and have it. Oh yeah, well this
Sleight of
rhymes with this.
hand.
So
That's what I'm hearing
yeah,
within me right now. Sleight of
yeah.
hand right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The sleight of hand, right? And
Yeah.
don't try to just be grateful for what you had and sit with it a little bit.
Yep. Yep. Because
Yeah,
it's out there, and for souls that are new to this exploration, um, yeah, the discernment is vital. And as you are developing your discernment, I'm here remembering it, but I'm going to say developing your discernment. Um, you need to be aware of what you are consuming. Uh, you will begin to pay attention consciously, not unconsciously, to what you're consuming and how your heart's feeling. You're listening to somebody and you begin to feel fear and sadness, or you're listening to somebody and your heart begins to fill with hope, and you feel lightness and happiness and joy. And it doesn't mean that you're listening to somebody who's talking about sunshines and rainbows. It means that you're listening to somebody who has discerned the truth within themselves for themselves and is speaking something that is authentically true for them. It may or may not resonate for you completely, but maybe you can feel their energy behind it. Maybe you can feel that you're listening to this broadcast and you may not be able to understand everything that's said, and you may not have even explored all this stuff, but somehow you're listening to it, and you feel lighter, you feel happier, you feel more hope listening to it, and it opens you more. And I'm that is an energy that is it's aligned, it's grounded in loving intent. And maybe one of the most significant things, whether it's directly connected to this topic or not, is that that you always I hope you always focus yourself on loving intent on all things. Um, because that informs you. And it's not that the other won't, because we learn from either mirroring or we learn from contrast. But the way of less suffering is the one of loving intent. That's the one I'll say. Those other downloads exist, and they also inform you. And we all learn by contrast before we, and we learn by mirroring each one. And you just have to feel out which one is right for you. And it's basically getting quiet within yourself as you're listening to that download, or you're even reading that download, and feeling how your body reacts, feeling and paying attention, conscious attention. Wow, that feels good. And then seeing how your body reacts. Do you get goosebumps? Do you feel more peace? Does your mind that was spinning before that broadcast feel peaceful? Are things falling into place? Are you getting clarity within your thoughts on things that you've been spinning about? Is what I'm hearing within me. And you have ahas. You have ahas. Wow, aha this, aha that. That is an energy that is putting you into alignment with you. Now, there are other broadcasts, like I was saying, and you're listening to them, and you had clarity and you had peace before you listened to them, and all of a sudden you're listening to them and you just feel confused about everything, and you're feeling doubt about all kinds of things in your experience, and especially about you. That's an energy that is either, you can say, intentionally aligned in ill intent, or not really clear of its intent in the first place. And that's where you step in and you discern for yourself what is right for you. Because again, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, and Larry echoed as well, you are sovereign in your own experience. And it is highly significant, especially in this now and going forward completely, that you make conscious choice of what you have in your reality. And that includes those things that are in your immediate reality and those things that are not, that you choose to put energy to. And where that intent is focused. And the downloads we're talking about, and the channeling, the more that you open to those that are aligning you with you and moving you to a place of peace or clarity, or any one of those similar energies, they will inform you more and more about you. And that energy, as you become familiar with it, will be a beacon, a magnet for similar energies and downloads. You've invited that one in, and you're receiving that one. And so the divine is like, okay, he's ready for more. And you receive more, and then you integrate that. You receive this information, and then you integrate it into your life, which could be something you might do that day, or it might take a while. It might be a profound shift. And it's basically, I'm getting within me that the downloads and the channeling, as you receive them, slowly shift your inner frequency, which is something I've never heard before. It makes a lot of sense, though. Yes.
A hell of a lot. It makes a lot, Carolyn, that makes a lot of sense. It shifts your inner frequency, and it ties back to this too. I think I've said this to you before, that really there is no love or hate or wrong. Everything's energy. There is love, there is hate, there is all that. But energy, this is all just energies. It's energy coming at you. Karma is an energy. These are energies, and it's whether that energy flows with you or not, and it doesn't serve the greater good, right? You can get these energies come through you, and maybe it doesn't completely resonate with you. And again, I can't emphasize enough, though, and I'm not trying to tell anybody how to channel, but be discerning. You do not have to listen to anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. But that I'm not telling you to bury your head in the sand, though, either. Don't do that. What I'm telling you is that balance. You know it, you hear it. Is it the same old thing you're hearing? It goes back to what Carolyn was talking about, the fear. Now, are these new stories, or is it's the same old kind of shit? Whether they're going to tell you this guy's after you, they're after you, they're out to do this, they're out to do that. The fear doesn't have any creativity. Darkness and fear, and I don't mean the color dark. I mean fear has no creativity whatsoever. It's always the same mantra with that kind of an agenda, right? Or that energy. Excuse me. It's always the same mantra. And I think we're at a point now where we're actually starting to talk about a lot of these things and express these things, because in the past they would just use cliches like, oh, we're all one, or oh, we're all part of God. You can't love yourself if you don't love anybody else. But then they stop at that. Let's explore these things, but then again, in the past, when people would try to do that, they'd be accused of that. I like the word you use, woo woo, because Carolyn, my doctor, my old doctor, used to ask me, are you still part of that community? Are you still dealing with those woo woo people? Well, I'm one of them, doctor. Yeah, I'm just a little bit. I got a little bit new school in me too, but yeah, and so we're learning that isn't, and it was mocked. It was mocked. Oh, they're just thinking deep thoughts all the time. Most such deep thoughts. Well, yeah, they're trying. At least they were trying to do. They were trying to do that. They're trying to
Yeah.
explain this shit so we can know, because you know it, but it's nice to have that last piece of the puzzle and have it tied together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I God, where did it go? Where did it go, guys? It was just there. Ah! Oh, thank you. That's it. Okay. And I got this thing to remind everybody about truth. So when you hear something that is true, and to me, what I receive is there's personal truths and there's universal truths, and for the individual in their experience, both are relevant. And so when you receive something that is true, and I think I'm speaking more of universal truths, is what I'm hearing within me, you will receive the energy of alignment, of peace, of no doubt, of complete faith, of like lightning bolt energy of enlightenment within yourself from truth. And truth is an energy that no matter what is being discussed at any angle of it, it all is the same. It all brings the same energy of peace, of truth, of light, of alignment, of clarity. It brings it the same from any angle. Lies, illusion, and deception fall apart when you shift the angle because they aren't true. And the visual I'm being given to give you is a puzzle, flat puzzle in front of you. Truth is a puzzle piece that will fit in any one of those pieces in a puzzle of any shape. It will fit in any one of those because it is aligned in divinity and is unchanging. It is eternal, just like you. You are truth. You are the truth of love walking on this earth. And lies, illusion, and deception only fit at one angle. Now, they might be able to tweak it by the individual and their own personal perception, but that shifting can only happen in a fixed view or fixed. I'm seeing the potential of another view, maybe, but in all views, in all 360, in all expressions of reality, truth exists and is unwavering. It doesn't shift, and lies and deception and falsities, they fall apart. They only exist at one level of reality. They don't at another, and they don't fit generally, is what I'm hearing, at any other angle than one angle. And I'm seeing a flat puzzle, and truth is three-dimensional or full embodied. There's a very different energy in the two. And the fact is, again, I will repeat, as you open with discernment to the downloads that you receive and the channelings that inform you and inform your experience, is what I'm hearing. You will be able to discern truth, your truth, and then there's the collective truth, the nope, they don't like collective, the divine truth. For all, it's a divine truth that we all live in these bodies. It's a divine truth that we all experience feelings of sadness and depression and anger and joy and beauty and all of that. It's a divine truth that we all share this earth. It's a divine truth that we all have to breathe. It's a divine truth that we all eat. The degree we eat, that's subjective. But these are things that are fixed. We all see sun. We all see the moon. We all take in the animals. And there's a stunning bird that landed on the tree outside my window. We all go through these experiences, and though we may perceive them differently, we all go through them. And one of the things I've always received within me is that when we experience God experiences, for any single experience we have, it informs the whole. And so it's important with discernment to allow yourself, unless you're already doing it, to open up to the downloads and the channelings and allow yourself to shift into those spaces and explore with honed discernment within yourself. And once you, again, have anchored your discernment well, then you can really let yourself, I'm hearing, fall into the trust and allow that divine flow, frankly, to infect and inform your life, and to allow yourself to be a conduit of the grace that you are.
Yeah, exactly. We're all embodiments. We're all cells of that big body that is God, that is the
Yeah.
divine, right? And
Yeah.
when you take the time to do the work, and when you take the time to discern and step into your power with that energy of love, again, it's just an energy. But when you have that kind of intention, your future is limitless. It's just the sky's the limit when you think that way. You're right about the dark. It's only one dimensional. There's only one thing you can do with it. You can tweak it a little, but not much. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's not going to change. There's always going to be the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderberg Group, up in the Warren Commission. The Illuminati, the Cabal, all those catchphrases, right? I mean, let's go down. We can go down the hit parade, and we don't need to
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
one of those things you could do
We'll let
all the way
David
down
Icke
the.
do that. Yeah, we'll let Iker Wilcock pull that shit. But
Yeah.
it's one of the things where you hear it one time, okay, it's true, but it keeps going on and on. But I think some people like that vibration. Some people like that. Ooh, well, what's around the corner? Is the boogeyman around the corner? Is it George Soros? I mean, who is it? The boogeyman's coming. I mean, you know what I mean? But use your own discernment. You can't control what
Yeah.
anybody else does, but So say, hey, that's great. Guess what? You know that about those entities and the people you may be talking about. So hey, don't deal with them. You don't like the Rothschilds? Don't deal with them. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only thing I'm going to say is that, I mean, as I receive, is as souls, yeah, I'm hearing flat out, they heal their heart. They address and face those experiences, especially the painful ones that color their reality. And that can be energies and emotions that are known as their past from their ancestors, right? They're very prevalent in their families, these kinds of emotional expressions and this kind of energy in your home. But then again, what happens is the more that you begin to take responsibility, and responsibility for me is two words: response ability, your ability to respond, your ability to consciously make choice, and to make that, the more that you can become aware of those reactions and that energy that you used to be drawn to, or that you're drawn to. Why, you ask yourself, why am I drawn to this energy? Why do I want to be scared? I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong. For some souls, they need that. But what is it? What are you seeking in being scared? What is the intent in that for you? What is that bringing forward? Maybe it's connecting to an experience when you're a child and it's taking you there. And maybe your subconscious is working on a puzzle, is what I'm hearing within me, by that fear. And there'll be a point of time when you tire of that. And one of the things I'm always given within me is that, we either learn through fear or we learn through joy. And in an unconscious place, you learn through fear. But when you become more conscious, when you begin to make choices because you just get tired of your shit, and you get tired of the heavy emotions, and you want more to life, and you want more hope, and you don't want to have this whole, with, forgive me, this is what I'm getting, bullshit mentality of same shit, different day, because every day and every moment is a blessing. It is a blessing. You begin to seek more for yourself. And when you do that and you begin to open, and you open in a place of focusing yourself, disciplining yourself, but grounded in kindness and compassion for you, you can begin to pivot the way that you learn for you, from fear to joy, from fear, from scariness, from trepidation to excitement, to being excited about this next experience, because you're not projecting dread into it. You're projecting hope into it. One is a present that you've already assumed that it's this dirty thing in that box, and you don't want to open it because it's going to be nasty already. What's the point? And the other is that you open up and you're like, It's a boxed present. Wow, what could it be? And you allow yourself to imagine, and you allow yourself to envision something higher for yourself. And that one shift of intending something higher for yourself is very profound. And these all come from opening yourself, which one of those steps is definitely allowing the downloads as you discern, and allowing the channelings that you receive. And I've received written channelings, but again, it could be music, it could be dance, it could be you're a potter, and you go and you grab your clay, and you create something with that clay. Maybe, I don't know, I'm seeing something about a mechanic. Somebody being a mechanic, and they go do something with their car that grounds it. I guess every soul's different. But all of this is very significant, and I'm praying that it is picked apart by every soul, and that they
Mhm.
receive the truth that is their own for themselves.
It's certainly an interesting paradigm with the truth there, right? I mean, so there's the
Yeah.
universal truth, what you're talking about, what you were talking about is, and then there's your own personal truth, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anything you express when you're doing pottery, I love doing pottery. I've only gotten to take a class a couple times. You probably have taken a class in your day. I suck at doing it, but it's so when I've done it before, it's really relaxing. So it's an expression you're channeling. And maybe
Yeah.
even while you're doing things like that, you come up with an interesting writing, or you come up with an interesting thought to put down into form. Those are times when your mind is really open to receiving the divine. And there's
Yes.
only so far there. Listen, there, and I'll say it again. There is only so far you can go in that dark vibration. It's like watching the same episode of Three's Company 25 times. Okay, you know, Jack is still going to trip and fall over the couch. Okay, or whatever he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gonna happen. It's not gonna change. It's the same thing. But
Yeah.
man, your opportunities are the world is limited when you act out of a place of love and joy.
Yes. It's unlimited. Yes.
I'm sorry, limited. Yes, limited. It's unlimited beyond belief on a multidimensional level, on a multidimensional plane. And I think sometimes I'm going to go back to what you said earlier on another thing, the dimensions. I think some people have trouble wrapping their mind around, like you mentioned, Camelot, but it existed on a different dimension, right, and different
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah.
People, yeah, right, but I think people have trouble wrapping their mind around. It's one thing with the extraterrestrials from other planets, but there's all these places that have, including here, there's all these dimensions too, right?
Yes.
So, and the more advanced of a galaxy there is, the more advanced universe. We're really young yet. The more dimensions there are, they're endless. In certain
Oh,
ones, there's
awesome.
only, yeah, like in our dimension, for instance, about the 15th dimension is probably the highest right now that it's accessible, as far as from a complete mental standpoint, and a little bit of a physical one, right? But the higher the advanced galaxies are, they go further and further and further up the ladder to where it's endless, and it's just endless. And really, you don't even start living till you're out of our dimensions, right? This is just the beginning. Life is so vast and so wonderful that we have a clue about what's just ahead of us a little bit, but we don't have any clue how to fathom beyond that. Okay, because
Yeah.
we're coming at it from a limited perspective, and that's not our fault. It's just because where we're at, right? I mean, we think, okay, there's the higher dimensions, this dimension, that dimension, that goes clear up to a angelic dimension. Wow, then that's it, and then there's nothing. No, then there's more and more and more. But your consciousness is awakened to the fact of, I mean, you only use 10% of your brain. Imagine you probably use like 0.2% of your consciousness, really, of what's available out there in the cosmos. It's so vast.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Completely. And that's interesting. Yes, because I'm getting, when we get the downloads and the channeling, and we're shifting and we're expanding our consciousness, we're expanding. It's energetically expanding the body, but the last level of creation is the physical, and so the body receives those benefits at some point. Yeah, the energetic has to be in flow, and then the physical receives that once it's like more anchored, is what I'm hearing within me. um Interesting. Yes.
It is interesting, and I think I need to bring this up right now because my guides reminded me of this. So you know how we talked about earlier about you and I were joking. We had some trouble getting on air, ladies and gentlemen. We were
Yeah.
talking about Carolyn's like we must be in Mercury must be in retrograde. I'll tell you, we are going through something right now because when we're going through a really good shift, if I'm sitting there relaxing like at night or something, and I look off into the kitchen or something from the game room where I'm kind of chilling, I'll see like different items levitate and shit like that. And people, I wasn't on any drug. I was on the only drug I was on last night was tobacco. Okay, I wasn't. But things will start levitating when the energies were high. Carolyn will remember back in November when I would message her all freaked out because I hadn't had that feeling in 10 years with that crazy shift we were going through. And she said to me, she said, man, I bet those extraterrestrials are really coming in strong right now from all dimensions. I said, she had to say that at the time because I'm thinking, God damn, no shit they are. I mean, they're
I don't
really.
even remember that, honestly.
You told me that you said, yeah, I bet those ETs are really coming in strong right now with these energies to you, huh? And I like, yeah, thanks. They really are. Yeah.
You just did you glitch? Did you because you this it went off and went on just a second ago. Did that happen to
You
you?
No, but I saw that you did. You went on for it was a split second. Yeah.
Ah, that's my feed. Okay, okay. Yes, 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 definitely. Okay. Yes,
But yeah, you don't
I did.
remember saying that, but you said it to me. You're like, oh, but I bet those ETs are really coming in strong, aren't they, right now? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they're all over the goddamn place. They've moved in for a month.
It's the nature of my experience that because what am I hearing? More integrated. My conversations with my guides or whatever are more integrated within me, and you would even say that they're more integrated within me. That I don't always remember everything I say because I shift in and out of being here, which is something that all of us are doing as we raise consciousness because we are multidimensional beings. And because I kind of remember that, but then I don't. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, it sounds like something I could say for sure. Yes. I hear you.
It just hit home when you said it because it was really going on strong, and I hadn't had that kind of feeling since we were having all those crazy shifts in 14 and 15 when and they were
Oh
coming through
God,
the
yeah.
TV. They started coming through it now again. They started coming through my phone during that month hardcore. And it's just at the time you said it, it was like, I wanted to hug you and wring your neck at the same time. I bet they're really coming in strong. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it because I didn't want to say it, but then you said it. I'm like, oh, yeah, they are really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything else to say, and the only thing I'm going to say because it popped in my head is with anything I say, with anything I share, I am where I am because I walk my talk. The process of discernment is it's frankly a painful process, because you have to figure out what you are not, which means that you are in an experience that isn't supportive of you at all, and that can come in many ways. You know, yeah, it's devastating, it's painful, it's the place where some souls will actually leave this earth. Maybe many is what I'm hearing. I pray that's not true, but it's the place where you have a very honest conversation within yourself, and you learn the hard way that um through trial and error, that the screaming itself and the anger with self and the frustration with self is understandable but doesn't move you forward. It's the loving, it's the kindness, it's the gentleness which you give yourself, but I'm getting within me, maybe you are blessed and you have that mirrored by somebody in your reality, or maybe one of those people on the Instagram feeds is a loving person and you decide to take that energy on as your own to be that way with yourself, because if that person's supporting you, maybe you being that way with yourself will bring it forward as well, and it will. But it's not an easy process, and the times that we are in now, that will continue, I receive for the next few years, souls will be discerning. They will be making the shift from the mind, from the sacred mind to the sacred heart, and they will be doing that profound shift. And that will be the difference between listening to this podcast and you hearing some things and you're being like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Huh. You know what? She's crazy. You know what? He's crazy. I don't believe any of that. Nope, 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 nope. This is what's happening. And that is valid for the soul that says that. And the difference between that and that soul who has shifted to their heart, they'll listen to this broadcast and they will receive not only what we are offering, but they will know the energy in which it's grounded and its intent. They will receive, they will see these images on the screen and they will receive information and downloads, probably from just looking at these images or listening to this broadcast.
Oh yeah, either all or both. Yeah.
All of it. And it's all because that beautiful particular soul has chosen to take responsibility for their own experience. And I was seeing something yesterday and it was a nice clarity, which is, in the beginning, things happen to us and they're horrible. I'm not saying they're great, but we're in this place where we see ourselves as the victim, and maybe we are. I'm not denying that, but what I'm saying is that as we begin to heal, we begin to see that we exist more than just that reality, more than just that perspective. And that's the place where we can appreciate and we can honor that role of victim and whatever happened to us. And we can allow ourselves to slowly open up to seeing things differently, to opening ourselves to move forward, because misery gets old and frustration gets old and sadness gets old. And it's a place where those patterns that have not been supportive of us become apparent. And frankly, what I'm getting is they become apparent because frankly, what I'm getting is these downloads. The downloads, whether you're consciously aware or not, are an energy that is coming to you and is enlightening you as much as you allow. And I'm hearing within me, higher self dictates, and it helps you shift from those fixed spaces within yourself to giving yourself more room in your own experience to see things differently. And in that space of backing up and letting go of the defenses that you have against yourself and the judgment you have against yourself is the place where you can open to more, because you're putting your own weapons down against yourself and you're allowing in a slightly different view. And as that happens, and that can be very, very slow, but it's a slow and gradual thing. And you begin to allow in more happiness, more joy, even more hope, maybe places where you weren't feeling hope, you feel hope. And as you do that, you shift from learning through fear to learning through joy. And you begin to really hone your discernment. And that is the place of profound transformation.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's where the downloads and the channelings can really, really begin to inform your experience. Like it's this constant conversation, honestly, that's always there.
Always there. But you said the word discernment because you just tied into one more point I wanted to hammer home to people. Listen, Carolyn and I talked about earlier about using discernment when getting certain channels coming into. But I'll tell you one thing right now, this can happen too. Look, you could be dealing with you could get a weird feeling and not be used to it and kind of freak you out a little bit, but you are dealing with a higher dimensional entity or being that is loving and all that. It's just that their vibration is so high. Right. Their vibration is so high that you can't, you're in a state of mind at that point where you can't deal with it. Or maybe you're high, maybe you've been drinking, maybe you're not steady. Right. Yeah. And good positive energies that are of a high dimensional vibration, but you got to learn to discern whether it's that going on or whether it is. And it's more, you'll know it a lot better if it's something that's not of your best interest, right? But I'm not saying go with that anyway. Don't go with it anyway until you're ready to go with it. They wouldn't want you to go with it until you're ready to go with that vibration, right? I mean, so sometimes you're not in that right state of mind, and it happens to cross over into your perception of awareness, it might be a little bit heavy for you to deal with.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is it really is. So you have to really be grounded. And I know as being a Pleiadian
Yeah.
soul, our root chakras are not grounded. It's really rough sometimes, but you have to kind of use your own wit about you. I'll tell you, I've never had, they say your intuition is never wrong. When your intuition is not clouded by any kind of a overthinking it or anything, I have yet to hear about it really ever being wrong for people. I mean, I've never, God, my intuition was wrong. But if their intuition was wrong, I've heard them say that, but it's because they had some preconceived notion that was also floating through them at the same time about maybe the scenario or the situation.
Programming is what I'm hearing. Programming about intuition that would deter you from directly connecting with that alignment is what I'm getting right now. Like family, like family belief systems that would interfere with you connecting with intuition because of beliefs about its source or something like that is what I'm getting. That would be the only reason. And that would also be a place of discernment for the soul of the work that I just mentioned that would need to be done for them, for themselves.
Oh, absolutely, and you're right. It's pretty cut and dry as far as what how you just said that's the only reason. That is the only reason. That is exactly it.
That's it.
That's pretty cut and dry right there. Exactly it. One more thing I wanted before we get out of here, Carolyn, that I did before I ask you if you have anything left. I wanted to say, don't you think it's an interesting paradigm that we're in? We talk about the split, right? It might be one of the first civilizations that it's a split, but yet we're still with these people, right? They're still there. But I think what'll happen over time is that more people that are thinking the way they do over generations will kind of congregate together, and and maybe there'll be a split. They'll still be there and accessible, but they'll still be there. But it's kind of interesting how we're still living with them, but not with them. Isn't that kind of odd? Or it seems like we're moving in that direction. The planet's not going to split off people. I doubt it. And I'd love to be wrong, believe me, but it's not going to happen.
Well, to me, it's about frequency, and it's frequency of thoughts is what I heard very clearly just now. And, the energy that goes off or is emitted from somebody who is in, their thoughts are spinning and they are frankly closed off from their heart, or they are estranged from it is what I'm hearing right now. And to me, with all respect to those souls, I see those kind of more as like robots. Because if you're not connected to your heart, then you really don't know who you are. Because your mind and your thoughts can be, I'm hearing hijacked very clearly within me. You can have thoughts. You can walk through a bar and your mind can be pretty open to things and not thinking of anything, and all of a sudden you start thinking of something. Well, you might be thinking of that thing because the person next to you was thinking of that thing. Your thoughts, unless you are consciously aware of your choices and consciously aware of the energy around you, your thoughts can be redirected. And it doesn't mean your thoughts aren't your own, although I'm hearing very clearly, of course, they're not your own. They're a collective
your guys,
energy.
don't they? They have a great sense of humor, don't they? They're like, no shit.
I'm hearing they're a collective energy. Yes, okay, fine. But I mean, this is what I've always received, is that we have these beautiful thoughts and they're awesome, and they do create, but of course they create in conversation with the heart. And what I've always received is that yes, it's those are beautiful, but your identity, your uniqueness, and your divinity that pours through you as I receive is clearly conveyed in your heart, your unique desires of things, what you're drawn to. And this can be in any arena, what lights you up, what brings you forward into this present moment and makes you want to breathe into the next moment. These things are, and I'm hearing within me something very clearly about desires, because there's a part of me that hears it and thinks of sexual things.
Me too.
And
I just thought of it when you said of it. Yeah, exactly. I know.
it's not just sexual things, and sexual things, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that these bodies are beautiful, and quite frankly, before we were in these bodies, we were energy. And um to me, it's all, when it's given and it's offered in love, it's a connective energy of community, is what I'm hearing within me. But as I move to desires and look at, you desire a beautiful world, you desire, maybe you desire a red dress, you desire to create this picture, this image you see in your head, and you want to draw it, and it feels like um everything in your experience is pointing to draw that, right? Or you wake up in the morning and you desire to wear a certain color, or you desire to talk to this person. All of these things, as I receive, are all divine guidance. Actually, I'm hearing downloads, and they're pointing you to something. And as I have always received, those cannot be hijacked. It's not that you can't have egotistical desires. I'm hearing that. But in the place where you are aligned in the heart, and you're walking in faith, is what I'm hearing, and you are opening to joy, and you are in that space of hope and faith with your world, then the energy that's pouring through your heart is of the same. And your desires will be ones that, and your dreams will be ones that are expansive, frankly, as is your heart. It's expanding into new creations, basically, and new focuses, and yeah. And it all points to me, it all points to discernment and honing that tool, beginning the journey. This is always me, beginning that journey, starting to do that
Right.
inner work, and honing that tool so that you can be walking in those downloads and those channelings that are authentically and uniquely your grace, your beauty, your truth. And I'm gonna spin off into something, because I'm being guided right now and I see the time. I offer soul sessions, and my intent of those is to assist you in connecting with that, as I hold an energy of very loving intent, pure intent. And that means that for their souls that are receptive to that, I am like a portal to your higher light, to
Mm-hmm.
because I see every soul first in their purity. I truly do. It doesn't matter if there's a gang member standing in front of me. I see them as their purity, as pure light, until and unless they show me something different. And that's my discernment. But that is something I'm here for, is to the souls that are called to me, that resonate with me and my mission. I am here to assist you, to connect you, to what you receive as you. And that is something that is determined and discerned by your heart,
That was
by
pure
your heart.
loving energy coming from you. People, and you got to understand, Carolyn, that's not easy for her to talk herself up like that she can help you do that,
No,
but
it's
she
not.
can. It's not easy for her at all to do, because she's a very humble person, but it's true, she can. And I got to say this, Carolyn, you talked about that heart going through your heart, right? Isn't that the
Yeah.
last vestige? Isn't that the only thing that really separates us from being robots? Let's be honest. I mean, the soul and that
Yep.
heart love energy, that heart drop, that's the
Yep.
only thing that really separates us. And you talked about frequency earlier, right?
Yep.
When I talked about the split, well, you and I could both have a radio. You and I could be brother and sister. I got a radio in my room. You got one in your room, but you never
Yep.
listen to my radio station. I don't listen to yours because I don't like what you listen to. So I'm only tuned to that one frequency. You're tuned to your frequency. And you may hear a little bit of it when you walk by my room or vice versa, but we're not, our lives predominantly are not honed into each other's frequency on that level.
Right. Yes, completely. And I keep being reminded, and I'm kind of arguing, because I'm very grounded in being inclusive of everybody. And yeah, I'm being reminded of the acronym that I've been given for love within myself, of its energy, which is love, listen, open, value, experience, let openness validate existence. And so for me, my goal is to include everybody. I'm just wired that way. And so even though we are speaking of the heart, there's a part of me that wants to give validity to the mind and its sacred space, and it has a sacred space. Yes, yes, yes. I completely agree. But I'm also being guided to remind those that thoughts, yeah, they're not really that private. And if you are not aware and conscious in your own experience, they may not be your thoughts. And it is very very significant
No
to be aware
shit.
of that.
Oh no shit, and it's going to come more into fruition that you're going to start realizing that, hey, God, why did I think that? Why did I think that? And I know we've all had those moments before, but they're not that private. This is not a scare story, but you're a cosmic network, and those thoughts are out there into the universe. Okay, they're out there, and people are picking up on them. And also, you have to really be aware of that. And I'm not trying to get people paranoid. Oh, don't think that. But just be aware of where, if it sounds weird to you in your head, where is it coming from? Where were you at? Where did Carolyn mention being at a bar? Not a good vibration. But I
Yeah,
have a drink, whatever. I'm not saying don't, but you have to be aware of where you're at. Be aware. I beat it into my kid's head. You have to be around. You have to be aware of your surroundings. Don't be paranoid, but just be aware. It doesn't mean you
yeah,
give all your energy to it. But for God's sake, be aware. That's all it takes is awareness. Because you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, awareness is a tool for these suckers to stop guessing, as far as I'm concerned. Consciousness is a tool for these suckers to stop guessing. It
yes,
really is. And it's
yeah,
so important. But yet I'm not trying to say, oh God, be paranoid all the time. No, just be aware of it and be done with it. But be aware of it.
yes. And I'm compelled to, because of the time, I'm just going to say that that is relevant. The thoughts and what you're thinking and becoming conscious of that, because as I said earlier, the downloads and the channelings, which like is echoing so strongly for me now. I can't believe I've never received this or thought of this before, but it's elevating your frequency within you, because it's more light pouring within you, and light illuminates. And yeah, so that's how that connects to it. That thought, that line of energy just left. It's like my guys are
Well,
saying, okay,
there you have
wrap
it,
it up.
cosmic sports fans. Just as you said that light thing, there in the clouds right out here where I'm at, this UFO just cruised through the clouds and it blinked a blue light through the clouds as you said that. That's
Oh,
so weird.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Hi
But
guys.
all of these connect, because it's about bringing up your frequency, which I truly never received it before now, which comes clearly from the downloads and the channelings, as you allow them, and as you discern, and you feel their validity within you, for you, and their resonance. Deeply important, that resonance. And that's it.
Absolutely. That's it, sports fans. Yeah, go through your heart, ladies and gentlemen. I've always said if you want to use your brain a little bit, if you start a decision in your heart, run it through your brain, but then run it back through your heart drop to make that final decision. Use a little bit of awareness, but let your heart guide you. But be aware, just with your head, be aware of what you need to know, the hardware part of it, okay? The heart will do the rest. And that's the only thing that soul, the heart, whatever you want to call it, both, that's our only vestige between who we are as greatness and being something that's just mechanical. It's the last, and that's about it, sports fans. That's Locken's rant. And I'm not going to call her crazy Carolyn. I do that in private. We won't tell her about her. Crazy Carolyn's used car lot. She'll even roll back. You know what? She's even going to roll back the speedometer for you and give you, you'll have less miles on that car. But Carolyn, where can they find you in the wonderful world of social media when you're not at the car lot?
On Facebook, my mission business page is Allowing the Light on Facebook, and it's on Instagram, Allowing the Light as well. And I also have a page on Facebook, which is my personal page, which actually is open to the public as well, which is Carolyn Lanier Roberts. And if you're interested in a soul session, reach me on my mission business page, Allowing the Light. You can also reach me on my Instagram. I exist on WordPress, but I haven't been there for a while. If you go to WordPress, my page is the Care and feeding of, because my guides woke me up one morning saying, okay, what is required for the care and feeding of Carolyn? Um, and my thoughts are that applies to every soul, the care and feeding of you. Let me see.
You can find you on YouTube. I know times is the essence, but
Oh
YouTube,
yeah,
yeah, your two channels. The one you can't get into, and then that's got
yeah,
some
that's
great
right.
videos on it. But you the names of them are. Go ahead and hit it with the names.
Okay. The one that I can't get into, the old one is Allowing the Light. Has about 12 videos, but these are eternal. The information in there for the souls that resonate will resonate with them now and any now, frankly. And then my current YouTube is Carolyn Lanier Roberts, and then parentheses is Allowing the Light. I got to come up with a shorter name. But yes, and I'm constantly updating my Instagram and my personal feed that goes to my mission business page for downloads that I receive, honestly, and channelings I receive, because yeah, that's my service. That's to offer that new information. I receive it for the souls that resonate, and yeah, and thank you for your time.
No,
Awesome
yeah,
introduction.
absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing this space with us. People, I just want to say about her real quick. As far as her services go, you couldn't pick. There's probably man, there's less than a handful of people I've ever ran into that I would even put in her category to have helped me. I mean, I can only think of a couple offhand, and that's it. And people, that's it. That's it. There's not. You're not going to find it. I mean, I know Carolyn won't say that, but I'll say it for her. I'm dead serious. But now, as far as where you can find me, I could go into a big diatribe. I'm not. We're up against the clock. Look, there's one place you can go and find everything I've ever done in my life. Well, it's on that I would disclose. It's Larry Locken social media outlets page on Facebook. Okay, go there, smash that like button, people. I like my statistics. Smash that like button. Yeah. Uh, do that instead of follow. It's better to like something than follow it, because when you like it, you're following it and liking it. I know it's hard to explain, but you don't want to follow a page. You want to like it, because then you'll follow it and give it stats. But you can go there, and it's also called the Larry Locken Network. That's a second name. I'm on every social media platform that you can imagine under the name of Larry Locken Channel, spaced out between words sometimes not. But the only one I'm not on is SoundCloud and LinkedIn. Other than that, I mean, every goddamn one of I can think of, I'm on. Okay, everything. So whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to get into diatribe. Carolyn's heard it a million times, and we're up against the clock. Larry Locken social media outlets. It'll tell you about my 5 YouTube channels and all the shit that I'm involved with. Okay, which is a lot. Way too much, but that's how it goes, and that's where we're at. And with that being said, Carolyn, was there any last words you had to say at all, or are you good?
The only thing that popped in my head just now is the images, like what you're seeing on the lower is receive, and I offer that blank cards, and with all my blessing picks, they're light encoded for your clarity, for your truth. And then everything that was said in this broadcast, even though my mind is like arguing with things right now, my whole being is saying that everything that was brought up actually connects, and all of it is relevant, and all of it can be connected to downloads and channeling, because that's I'm receiving. That's how this world is informed, frankly. um yes, and I
Every
am so grateful for your time and your attention. Mhm.
Yeah, everything that's communicated that ever has been is channeling anything that's ever been
Yep.
uttered. So we know that. Okay, folks, this is it's been a great session. The energies are really crazy right now. I'm wanting to talk. Ground yourself. Do as I just say, do as I say, not as I do. So just enjoy this time that we're in now, in the space that we're in. We're living this stuff in real time, folks, in real illusionary time, but we're living this in real time. This is history.
Mhm.
It's a wonderful time to be alive, actually. It's going to be written about throughout the cosmos. Okay, so just enjoy it, stay grounded, stay focused, stay cool, star babies. Of course, this has been Rockin' Larry Locken, your host with most from coast to coast, giving you coolness, hotness, and everything you could have cosmically wanted in this. And with that being said, we'll see you next Thursday morning. at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock and deep in the heart of Texas, where Carolyn resides. Okay, and 9 o'clock in the UK, 5 o'clock in the UK, and on and on and on, and it don't stop, and it won't stop till it break it on. Well, then it does because there's a 24-hour time limit. But anyway, that's it. With that being said, I'm going to show my age, and I'm going to wish everybody I'm going to give everybody a big cosmic dating game kiss as we go out. Mwah, da 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 da. Okay, Jim Lang, the host is over. The show's over. All right. And that's it. And all right, Carolyn, we are off air as soon as I can hit the X button. Oh, it's 1:44. No, that's a different time. Never mind.